Hi, I'm Sam Crane. I'm a professor in the political science department, and I have a couple of things to say about teaching tutorials here. I haven't done a lot of tutorials myself. It was just a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, that I did the first one after being here for something like 15 years. And I find that, for me, I'm one of those teachers who tends to like to talk. I often slip into sort of a lecture mode, or I get a little anxious in discussions and tend to intervene or respond. So when it came time to do a tutorial, I found that one of the first challenges for me was to learn how to be quiet and learn how to take myself out of the conversation for a time at least, and just let the students read what they've written for the tutorial and read their critiques and engage in a conversation with themselves. And ultimately, yes, I would find myself intervening, but only after letting the students frame the conversation for any particular week. Of course, that's the nature of a tutorial. A lot of the work goes into front-loading it, setting up the syllabus and the weekly pattern of work. But it's when it's coming to actually carrying out that work where I found one of the first challenges was learning how to follow the students. Of course, one of the questions with that is whether students will really respond and do the work and follow through and make that meaningful. And I find that generally, overwhelmingly I should say, that students do, in fact, follow through and respond at a really very high level. The best conversation I've ever had in a classroom environment at Williams was in the tutorial format. Being able to pursue questions and issues that come out of the text. I'll say that my tutorials are on ancient Chinese philosophy. We were able to push those to a much further extent than I've been able to do ever in the regular class of Chinese philosophy that I do. The tutorial format matters, and I think it matters for students. I think it's scary for students to some degree. That is to say, being there, just two of them with a professor in the room. I think there's pressure to show the professor, the teacher, that they've done the work, because there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide, there's no back row to fade into in a larger kind of lecture class environment. But I think there's also a sense of wanting to demonstrate to their peers that they're there, they're doing the work as well. And it might put students under a much greater amount of pressure, but I've found that, again, overwhelmingly, students have responded to that. So, taking myself out, putting my trust in the way that students will respond to it, has yielded ultimately some really great teaching experiences for me. I hope that's helpful to new faculty thinking about whether they'll be doing tutorials or not.